This video will be split into two parts. The first part will be New Caledonia, the second will be French Polynesia, so let's go! There are many different varieties of cultures in New Caledonia. This has made two distinctive ways of life, the Kanak and the Kadosh. The Kanak's way is based on clans and family unions. They also have special land rights. The Kadosh way is based on the cash economy. Now let's get into their government. New Caledonia has an egalitarian structure, which means that everyone is equal. New Caledonia has both the parliamentary system and a representative democracy. The president of the government for France is also the head for New Caledonia. New Caledonia has also built a multi-party system with official power. Legislative power is also given to the exclusive branch of the government and Congress of New Caledonia. Now the next section is... The art in New Caledonia contains mostly wood sculptures. Red and white paintings was also used to enhance details of the carving. They had fanals on top of the houses to represent limbs and headdresses. Heads and the figures of ancestors were on top of stakes by ceremonial houses. All of the carvings are carried off by the relatives of their tribe. New Caledonia is actually the richest district in land carvings. Their mask carvings are very scary and astounding. The mask usually has curved eyebrows, scowling eyes, huge noses, and grinning mouths with lots of sharp teeth. These faces can be found on the posts carved on the stakes for the ceremonial houses. Dancers also sometimes wear this mask as ancestral war spirits. In New Caledonia, the main protein is fish. They eat fish such as tuna, mahi-mahi, king mackerel, and snappers. They also eat shellfish like clams, trochus, lobster, and coconut crab. The New Caledonia food is a mixture of oceanic, French, and Asian cultures. They also eat yam, sweet potato, and taro. Because of the fertile soil, they have a wide variety of fruits such as bananas, pineapples, and guava. At special ceremonies, they eat sea cow, turtles, fish, and bonia. Bonia is a traditional dish that has chicken, pork, prawns, and a few root vegetables. They are all marinated in coconut milk. They also have a lot of fruits and vegetables at the ceremonies. Most food is cooked and wrapped in leaves over hot stones. Now time for the next section. One main weapon they used was the birdhead club. The birdhead club was a wooden club used by chiefs. The club symbolized wealth and a high ranking. It was also used as a gift on special occasions. It is designed like a bird's head, but ironically none of the birds in New Caledonia actually has this head shape. I regret not making a pun. War. It's not fair, but it's still called warfare. New Caledonia was involved in World War I. The French governor sent 1,057 men to New Caledonia. In 1942 to 1945, New Caledonia was the support base for American and Allied troops. In 1941, the Bataillon du Pacifique was created. There were 605 volunteers with the battalion. 287 of them were Kanaks. There were also people from Tahiti and New Hebrides, which is known as Vanuatu today. We're almost done, I swear. Kanaks take dancing very seriously. Dancers express their deepest thoughts. They perform more dances on special occasions. They wear half black and half white face paint with nice brown garments on their bodies and feathers. They dance with their guts and not their feet, and their spirit needs to emerge. There is not as much singing. There is more fast movements, and they are usually holding an object, such as a spear in hand. They made canoes out of hollowed-out tree trunks. With that, they used double-hulled outriggers with triangular-shaped sails. They called these boats pirogues. A pirogue is a small boat, specifically a dugout or canoe. They mainly use these boats for fishing. Okay, speed running time. New Caledonia is 250 miles long and 25 miles wide. New Caledonia is also surrounded by the Great Barrier Reef, which spans about 1,250 miles. The highest peak is Mount Bani. It has an elevation of 5,341 feet. Mount Bani is part of the Central Chain Mountain Range. New Caledonia is a high island with rugged mountains. The island has a metamorphic rock formation and it divides the island into a coast. The climate is a subtropical region with temperatures spanning from 63 degrees Fahrenheit to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The lowest temperature reached in the capital, Nomea, was 55 degrees Fahrenheit. The longest river in New Caledonia is the Diahot River. This river flows for about 60 miles to Mount Bani. Why didn't you just say any of this in the beginning?
You need to leave!
New Caledonia was founded by France in 1853. France wanted to establish a penal colony. New Caledonia was also served as a naval base for France. New Caledonia uses the CFP franc, also known as XPF, as currency. The XPF is used across many Oceania countries. There is no official language in New Caledonia, but the French and Kanak is mostly acknowledged. More than 30 Melanesian languages are spoken in New Caledonia. New Caledonia has 2 international airports, both in the capital of Noumea. New Caledonia also has a few domestic airports. The population of New Caledonia is estimated to be 266,300 people. Melanesians make up 2/5 of the population, and Europeans make up about 1/3 of the population. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Coming up next is French Polynesia.
Thanks, Santana. Time for French Polynesia. The pain! Okay, let's go. To recap, French Polynesia is a part of, well, Polynesia in the South Pacific Ocean. I will be using Tahiti as my main example of culture and life in French Polynesia because it's the biggest and most populated island. The social structure is very similar to France, having a large middle class, a large lower middle class, and a small number of poorer people. The top of the pyramid are the chiefs, below them are the commoners, and the last are known as the Teuteu, being labor or servant workers. In general, the government is very similar to France because it's, well, in the name, French Polynesia. Now, because they are related, they both share certain laws. This makes French Polynesia have a required autonomy in almost every aspect of work. However, jobs for the police, including monetary, tertiary education, etc., do not require this. Popular art forms in this country include shell jewelry, wood carvings, and tapa fabric. Tattooing is also considered an art form, and based on where and what type of tattoo you get, it can represent different things. Honestly, this is probably one of the hardest sections I had to get information on, but traditional Tahitian houses are called fairs and are a mix of woven palm fronds, bamboo, and wood. However, today there is a mix of traditional and modern techniques being used. Also, depending on where you live on the islands, the cost can go up a lot, especially if you live in a limited area or have a nice view. This third section is information about their diet. So, they actually used to do this thing called fattening rituals. In French Polynesia, it was considered that the fatter you were, the more beautiful and lustful you appeared. Because of this belief, they chose specific men and women to do these rituals. Even though nowadays they don't continue this tradition, obesity is still accepted. Now comes the second part of diet. So, lots of their food includes starchy ingredients like taro, bananas, cassava, that's the stuff that makes tapioca, and etc. Poi is also considered a staple food, which can be eaten with fish, pork, or breadfruit. The most traditional way of cooking food is to use the ahima'a, or a type of underground oven. For weapons, they used spears, clubs, rasps, slingshots with stones, and battle axes. Fun fact, the battle axes were actually used to dismember the body, not fight. Other than those weapons, they also used the bow and arrow. There's 2 wars to talk about. First is World War I, where the French governor sent 1,057 men to New Caledonia, thanks Santana, between 1914 and 1918. There is a memorial in Papeete. It gives respect to the BNP, the Le Bataillon Mi du Pacifique, that headed to Europe, and the 203 men who died. The second war was the Franco-Tahitian War on the Society Islands. It was between 1844 and 1847, but apparently started in 1842 when France declared war. Dance in French Polynesia is actually very important, as it is in most Polynesian countries. The traditional Tahitian dance is called Ori Tahiti. It is very sensual, energetic, and vibrant, with lots of colorful clothing. Sadly, due to the 18th century missionaries who suppressed their culture, most forms of art were lost. Even so, their culture has been, in a way, revived. Okay, this was the hardest one I had to get information on. There's 2 theories about where the Tahitians came from. First is that they migrated from Southeast Asia starting around 4000 BC, and the other is that the Polynesians in general originated from Indonesia. Other than those 2, the outrigger canoes are called va'a and made of carved long tree trunks. The smaller version is called va'a iti and the larger one is called va'a motu. They use these canoes to travel from island to island and also to practice fishing. Okay, now for physical characteristics. Let's try to speedrun this. French Polynesia consists of about 130 islands in total. The main centers of tourism is Bora Bora. The highest point in French Polynesia is in Tahiti with an elevation of 7,352 feet. The Tuamotu archipelago has the most islands, which is about 80. The last fact is that the entire space taken up spread apart is about 5 times the size of France. Now for human characteristics, let's go. The 2024 Paris Olympic surfing competition was held in the Tahitian town of Teahupo'o. The traditional exports have declined a lot, but have been made up with fishing. Because of missionary influences, as I said before, their culture has disappeared a lot. The official languages that are spoken are French and Tahitian, but other Polynesian languages are used. Lastly, at least 69% of the population of French Polynesia lives on Tahiti. Thank you for listening.